Friends, I want to talk to you about what you're made of. I'm getting ready to launch a lot more videos on YouTube here, and I just feel that it's time for us to start with the basics because it's time for you to really know what you're made of. And this is not what they have really taught us in our educational models, and it took me a lot of time and a lot of years of working hands-on with patients to first start to feel the truth of what I'm about to share with you, and then even more years to put it all together. And so the topic of this video to follow is about you as an energetic being. We really truly are made entirely of energy. And in order to wrap our minds around this, because remember that our minds are very rational and linear in their thinking, and our educational models have taught us about matter and about this science, this really third dimensional scientific model. And what I'm going to be bringing in here during this video is a much more expanded view of your energetic system and of a different kind of science, and this is quantum science. And quantum science, while it is accessible to some of us in our educational models, I did not get the bridge between quantum science and the human body in any of my schooling. And so I offer it to you here, or at least as much as I can fit into this one video without getting too scientific, because this isn't really about science per se. It's about remembering what you're made up of. Because once you actually get into a deeper understanding of what you're made up of, then it changes the game a lot. It changes what you think about the world around you. It changes how you feel inside of yourself. And most importantly, once we step into the energetic truth of what you're made up of, and the laws of energy, which are that, energy cannot be created, nor can it be destroyed. It changes form. And all that energy wants to do is flow. And so it's the basis by which I offer all of my teachings and all of my healings. Once we get a sense of these energies that we're made up of, then we can actually start to work with them. So before we get into any of these additional videos that I'll be launching from here on out, let's go into your energetic body and what does it mean that you're made of energy. So when we touch our bodies, we feel our skin, and it feels very solid, doesn't it? And so for our linear, rational thinking mind, it's very challenging to imagine that this solid feeling body is made of energy. How can that possibly be? We have to go from the macro view to the micro view in order to even get a sense of this. So macroscopically, we have skin, we have tissue, but we dive in. And underneath your skin, there's fat, there's muscle, there's bone. And when you take those pieces of bone, of muscle, of fat, and you put them under a microscope, you then see molecules, you'll see cells. And the more that you zone in, you start to see inside of those cells, and you'll see the organelles inside of those cells. And the organelles then break down even further into electrons and protons and neutrons. And you start to see that there's a lot of space around these constituents of the cell and the atom. And when you go down even further than that, you get down to one of the smallest constituents of your whole body, and that is the photon. And so this photon is really where the magic is, because the photon, now you're made up entirely of photons. Photons, when they congregate, that's what produces the atom, and then the cell, and then the molecule, and then the tissue, and then the organ system, and then we go right back out again. But when we go all the way down to the level of the photon, we know through our quantum science studies that the photon itself has intelligence. It is what we intend it to be. So if we take a photon and we intend to study it and to measure it as a particle, as a unit of matter, it actually has measurement. It is a unit of matter. Now, if we take that same photon and we study it and we measure it and we intend for it to be a wave, a component of light, it doesn't have mass anymore. It actually no longer is a particle. It measures as a wave. And so what this tells us is that the same photon can be either or. It can be wave or light, or it can be particle or matter. And it is made into one or the other based on what we intend for it to be. We intend for it to be. And so this is revolutionary to really wrap your mind around, because what this means is that how you view yourself transforms what you're made of. So if you think yourself to be incredibly dense and solid matter, then you will be. But if we shift that and we open ourselves and expand ourselves into the unknown quantum field, which really we're finding out more about, meaning we're learning more and more about quantum theory, quantum science. And the more that we attempt to learn, the more we realize we don't know. There is a divine intelligence to all of this. There's something of a higher unfolding here. But bringing it back to your body, because we don't want to go too far into outer space. This is what it means for you. You are made entirely of these photons, which means that you are actually made up entirely of waveforms of light. And it's your intention that will allow your body to respond accordingly, meaning it will become more light. We all have those moments in our lives where we feel really dense and disconnected, because the truth is, we're both. At times, our photons behave more as particles of matter. And we all know those moments when we feel like we are literally carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders and nothing's going right that day. And there's a lot of those times right now, because there is more intensity on this planet and more suffering and tragedy that we're seeing and experiencing than ever before. And so there's more of an opportunity for us to feel dense and heavy, more like matter. And when we're more like matter, it is fixed energy. It's stagnant energy. It's dense energy, and we feel it. But what's really important now for you to know is that it's your intention that changes your body from feeling dense and weighted and heavy to feeling light, like a wave. And so when we go into our bodies with intentionality, then we actually can start working within the energetic system in a way that actually is deeply healing and restorative. And so in the second half of this video, now that you have a sense of what your body is made up of and how your actual intention can change the behavior of these photons that make you up, now you can start to learn how to work with it. And so I want to offer one simple way for you to start to feel these energies. Because when you set your mind into your body, when you start to move your intention into your body, you activate these photons to become more light just by redirecting your energetic flow from where it's normally directed out into the world outside of you. And now redirect it back into your body. And just that alone redistributes photons. You end up having more photons behaving as light just by starting to look inside of your body. And with your intention, anchor your concentrated focus onto your breath. So the breath is not only the air as it comes in and out of your lungs, but when we start to really get down into these quantum theories, the quantum science of the air around us, what we have found is the air is not just open space, it's energy actually. It's plasma and it's ether. And so when we breathe in the air, we're breathing in energy. So we have not only redirected the energy from outside of our bodies, but now start to focus on your breath. And take your breath all the way into the body, as far away from your thinking mind as you can get. So you might focus on your feet, but oftentimes when I'm beginning a self-treatment energetic practice, which I do daily, to move energy and redirect energy and clear energy from my own body, I often start just by bringing the energy, meaning directing my mind to bring the breath. Literally, start to see your breath as being energy that you can move around your body. And just by focusing your attention on different parts of your body and imagining the breath entering those parts of your body and exhaling out from your body in that place, you're not just imagining that, it's real. Because now we know that the photon changes its behavior based on what you think it should be. And so now let's apply this to your own self-healing practice. So take your attention and place it on your breath. Quiet your eyes, and I recommend that you do this while seated, because you can really start to feel the directionality of energy as it flows up from the earth through your body, and then from your body up into the sky, and then it turns back around, and it comes right back down, and there's a whole system by which energy is organized in your body. But for the sake of this one video, let's just go all the way down to the base of your pelvis. And in your pelvis, there is an energy center. And that's just a swelling of energy, a ball of energy, and it holds a huge amount of energy that feeds that whole section of your body and most of your bones, in fact. The energy from source and from the earth, it comes up into your body and you have direct access to it. You can start to work with it this way. So this is how we do it. As you close your eyes down and you get into your body and you get into a comfortable seated position, go all the way down to the base of your pelvis and just start to connect with that part of your body. If you know anatomy and physiology, if you're a healer, an osteopath, or another kind of doctor, and you know how to see anatomy on the inside, begin to do that. As an osteopathic doctor, I can see inside of people's bodies and inside of my own body because I've studied anatomy for so many years. And when I move into my own body, I literally see it. It's like a movie. So begin to visualize your pelvic floor muscles. They're circular muscles that round. They go around the perineum. They go around the genital and the anal opening areas. And just start to feel that space as you breathe into it. See it with your attention. And now breathe it. So seeing it and breathing it actually brings photons there. The breath brings more photons there. You are literally populating that area with photons. And now when you breathe, those photons behave as energy, as light. They move. And so now all of a sudden, by breathing in, you start to feel the filling of that space at the very base of your pelvis. And when you exhale, let that whole area contract, relax, and continue to do that. Just breathing into that lower pelvic region, the pelvic bowl, and exhale to release. And let yourself begin to feel a melting, where your body starts to soften. Your pelvis starts to literally melt. because the energy actually starts to flow there. That's what that melting sensation is. And we're going to take it one step further. So once you've had a sense of the feeling of this melting, maybe it's starting to tingle, pulsate. Maybe you can start to feel the expansion in your pelvis with the in-breath and the contraction of your pelvis with the out-breath. And this really, truly is energy moving. You're moving your own energy through your first energy center. And so now imagine that underneath your body, a couple of feet under you, there's this beautiful energetic center that is composed of the earth energies. And these earth energies are breathing up into you. And so when you inhale, you literally are breathing the earth energies up into your first energy center. And then when you exhale, you release the breath from your own energy center and you melt down. And you just start to feel yourself melting down to the earth, into that center that's under you. Breathing from the earth, you feel the energy rising and starting to fill your first energy center. And then when you exhale, same idea, you just continue this rhythm. Exhale the energy from your first center and let it flow right back down into the earth center. And this is the exchange of energy that will heal you, because earth energy is healing. It is unconditionally loving. This is why so many of us feel so much better when we go out into nature, because we are literally breathing in the energy of the earth through our feet, which is also connected to this first energy center, and up into our legs, which are, I like to call, our energetic roots. And so just connecting into your body in this way is the most potent way for you to release stagnant, stale energy that's been literally just sitting inside of your body. That density that we were talking about at the beginning of this video. It starts to transform. It starts to melt. It starts to transmute, which is energy that changes from its dense form into a more fluid, wave-like form. And so this is the basis of all of the self-healing practices that I teach. By understanding that our intention changes the way that our energetic system behaves. And anywhere in your body that is dense, that feels really sluggish and stagnant, that it's only that way because we haven't actually started working with it. Bringing our attention and bringing our breath into all of these sections of our body in a systematic way is a practice that I feel should be taught to every human on this planet. And it is my intention to do so, to break these pieces down into bite-sized, digestible parts so that you begin to know yourself and remember that you are a powerful self-healer. You are the one that holds the keys to your own healing. And returning to your body every day in these loving, unconditionally loving ways will restore your health. And at this time, we all need to be restored, regardless of our exposures, regardless of what's happening outside, regardless of whether we are in a state of thriving in our lives or surviving in our lives. Each and every one of us deserves to know this information, because as humans, we just absorb densities. That's just part of what it feels like, what it means to be human. We hold things inside of us because that's our design. But it's never been the design to keep it inside of us. That's the part that most of us don't yet know. So now is time. Get back into your bodies in this way, and I'll be offering many more videos going forward with additional steps, additional teaching. So tune back in for your next lesson, and I'll see you all then.